Most of you probably know that I work in music as a concert pianist and composer. I love what I do. Honestly, I can't imagine doing anything else. I am so blessed to be able to make music for a living. Which, side note, by the way, I will be doing said music live in London next Wednesday, May the 4th, at South Bank Centre. If you are in the London area or UK, or if you have some extra air miles that you're wondering what to do with, come see the show. I would love to say hello. I'm reminded by a guy that flew all the way from Australia to Amsterdam to see a show. That was amazing. But the fact that I sit at the piano as my day job, it's never lost on me. Don't get me wrong, no job is perfect, as you well know. I have to fight for my time at the piano, as there are many layers involved with what I do that I'm not going to bore you with. But again, no job is perfect, and my journey hasn't been without hiccups. Throughout this quote-unquote path, if you will, there have been times where things just didn't happen. Steps that I was certain were the missing piece in moving my career forward, or some element that I felt at the time I just couldn't continue without, like landing the right gig with a major artist, or not living in a city where the action was, or once I was there, turning down auditions because I couldn't get my shift covered when I was waiting tables. If you were to think back on all of those moments that you've been through, I'm sure you would need to sharpen your pencil once or twice, making the list. For me, one of those times that truly felt like I was laying brick upon brick upon brick of my fate was in my youth. As many of you know, my dream was to attend a rather renowned conservatory. My audition was, let's say, more nightmare than the dream. Long story short, I was told, "You're in the wrong place," and was told to move on. Was I devastated? Of course. I mean, how could I not be? This was my dream. This was everything that I had worked for. Honestly, it felt like my world had just come crashing down. It was hard. It was really, really hard. But you know what? Looking back now, I'm grateful that door closed, as hard as the folder on the professor's desk during my audition. As if spiraling down an emotional waterslide with nothing to hold on to, I'm going to be honest, I was lost. It was like I had all of my eggs in one basket, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, that basket just got run over by a garbage truck. Hindsight, I can't imagine not sitting where I am right now. In my studio, having just practiced my own songs for this upcoming show in London, and now staring at a blank screen, writing yet another Passion Piece episode for this podcast that I started in September of 2020. Little did I know that Calm It Down would take on the life that it has. But had I been accepted to the conservatory, I can say with 99.98% that my songs, my performances, this podcast would never have happened. And that's something that I wouldn't change for anything. Does everything happen for a reason? You know, I don't know. I don't. I kind of think there's something that everyone has to figure out for themselves in their own time. And also, another perspective, ready or not, sometimes things happen when we do or don't want them to. But I do believe, sincerely, that most of the time, things somehow, they work out. We don't get everything we want all the time, and that's understandable. Yes, reality bites sometimes, but sometimes there might be something else waiting for you. Something even better. Something that you wouldn't have ever even thought about if the original thing had worked out like you wanted it to. It's a little bit cliche, but stay with me. Could it be that at least some of the time, rejections or letdowns like this could be blessings in disguise? I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. Blessings in disguise. Have you ever experienced something like this? You wanted something, a job, a relationship, an acceptance letter, but it didn't work out. You were crushed. You just couldn't understand at the time why you couldn't just get what you wanted, what you felt like you needed. Why were you being put through all of this? But after a while, it was like your eyes were opened. Maybe it came to you in one special moment, an aha moment that allowed you to see that in hindsight, if you'd gotten what you wanted back then, it wouldn't be possible to have what you have now. And what you have now actually is better. Like my experience being rejected by the conservatory, again, you only see it in hindsight, of course. And you know this, but other times it takes a while to learn that lesson, to recognize when something was a blessing in disguise. You didn't get what you wanted back then, so you were forced to take another route. And that route has brought you to something more beautiful than you could have ever imagined. Things worked out like they were supposed to after all. The hard thing, that rejection, that heartache, that upset that you went through, it was a blessing in disguise, as the saying goes. But I started thinking, sure, it's nice to look back and realize that, something was actually, unbeknownst to you at the time, a blessing in disguise. But wouldn't it be nice if our blessings weren't in disguise? Like just completely out in the open, like you recognized it. I mean, think about it. How much easier would it have been if you'd been able to recognize your past misfortunes in the moments that they happened as a blessing? If you had been able to go through it with trust that things would work out and you'd actually be grateful for this someday? I mean, how much easier would it have been to go through what you did if you'd just known what you know now? I'm reminded by that old adage, would you rather be delivered or developed? Oof, that's a hard one. Would you rather be delivered or developed? So I started wondering if there's a way to do this. If there's a way to recognize blessings when they happen, to go through hardships with that trust that everything would just work out like it should. Now, let's be clear. I'm not trying to say that everything is a blessing in disguise. I get that. The truth is, we don't know why we go through the terrible things that we do. And some things are just awful. And I would never say that a traumatic event or a passing of a soulmate is a blessing, or that what you have gone through or what you are going through is an actual blessing. That would be rather asinine of me to say. The pain that you have felt, the pain you're feeling, it's real, it's valid. If only we lived in a world where unfortunate things never happened, that would be amazing. But the truth is that none of us really know how life works. Every decision, every experience that you've had in the past has brought you to where you are right now, in this moment. I don't know how we can reveal our disguised blessings as they're happening. I don't. We have no way of knowing what's in store for us in the future. We have no way of knowing how things will work out. But we're also not completely powerless over our futures either. So I guess what I came to is this. Perhaps putting the focus on creating a life where each step you take is for a reason, or each event, each occurrence is for a reason. And then one day you'll be able to look back and appreciate everything that's happened. Some things may just leave us baffled, but every joy and every sorrow, they're all necessary steps to get where you are now. A blessing in disguise in a roundabout way. And because of that, we can go through every experience with this trust. Maybe not a conviction that this hardship is a blessing in disguise, but to trust in yourself that you're going to get through this and continue working toward happiness. That this thing that's happened, it's not going to stop you. You're going to find meaning. You are going to get on the other side of whatever it is, and then have that eureka moment. Trust that what you're going through now may be a burden, but on the other side may be a blessing. I'm going to say that again, even for my own sake. Trust that what you're going through now may be a burden, but on the other side may be a blessing. If you have a few moments more to share with me today, I'd love to work through a visualization together. Man, that's a hard word, right? Visualization. How often do you ever say that? All right, but let's close our eyes really quick. This is really short and simple. I'd like for you to close your eyes. Just relax the chest. Just kind of loosen your shoulders a little bit. I'd like for you to visualize yourself in 10, 20, 30 years from now. Now, all the guidance I'm going to give you is that in this envisioned future is that you're content, you're happy. 10 years from now, 20, maybe 30. You may not have every single thing you want in life in this envisioned future, but you feel a deep comfort. You feel peace within your life. You have everything you need. You're happy, even. I'd like for you to look back now on all the experiences that you've had over the course of your life. Bring to mind some of the hard experiences that you've been through. At the time, they were so confusing. They were so painful. And that's okay. That's part of being human. And you were right to have those emotions at that time. You thought you'd never get through some of those things. But you did. You found a way to move forward. And now, you're here. Looking back over your life and feeling relieved, feeling better, feeling happy. As you think back on the hardest experiences of your life, you find yourself filled with a deep awareness of something. Are you ready for this? It was all part of getting to where you are now. I'm going to say that again. It was all part of getting to where you are now. You could say that these experiences were blessings in disguise because they were necessary steps. If they hadn't happened, you have no idea how your life would have turned out. Things may have been totally different. Everything in your life happened exactly the way it needed to bring you to this moment in your life. I'll say it again. Everything in your life happened exactly the way it needed to bring you to this moment. It couldn't have happened any other way. Let's slowly open your eyes. Exhale. Loosen those shoulders. You know, I know it sounds a bit tired and overused, but try this just for a month. Just a month, okay? What you're going through right now that leaves you feeling derailed, write it down and then wait. Write it down, put it in a drawer somewhere that you won't forget, and then wait for 30 days. And then go back to the list and see where you are after 30 days. It may happen in 5. It may happen in a year. But trust that what you're going through now, that may seem like a burden, on the other side, may be a blessing. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, hear the musical playlist from today's episode, or simply wanting to know where to send chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. You'll even find additional resources for emotional support, including our online community and our Facebook page. You're not alone. You are not alone. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized Sweet Tooth. And now something my attorney wants me to say. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and is not intended to, nor should they serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of such physician. Now, what I like to say. I am an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this and future podcasts in aiding those needs. To find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And finally, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of emotional health. I'm Chad Lawson, and until next time, be kind to your mind, and join me next week as we calm it down.